He was especially worried about the little black children, he said, because he thought...
Hello, my beautiful YouTube family. Welcome back to the L portion of T.E.L.L. Joanne. I am your girl, Joanne. Guys, we are continuing our weeks of Elvis. Every evening at 7 or 8 o'clock, definitely tune in because you will have it every single day for the next 3 weeks. I hope you guys were with me last week, and if you did miss any videos last week, definitely be sure to check it out. But before we continue the videos this week, you guys already know what we're about to do. If you are part of the family, aka you're already subscribed, but if you're new to the channel, this is when I say hello. Now, put me on pause, go get yourself a beverage of choice, hit that subscribe button so that you can become part of this incredible community. And on the count of 3, we'll do our chair. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Guys, I have been enjoying the interviews that I've been listening to, either the ones by Elvis or the ones that people are talking, their experience that they had through Elvis, and it's just been absolutely wonderful. And I thank you guys for the comments that you guys have been giving me throughout, and just for being here with me. All right, so without further talking, let's continue. First time reaction to Nancy Sinatra talks about Elvis in a revealing interview. Ooh. All right, let's go.
I hope this doesn't get too serious for this show, but he called me the night his daughter was born, and he was very melancholy, and he said...
Nancy Sinatra revealed what Elvis Presley told her in confidence on the night of February 1st, 1968. The day his only child, Lisa Marie Presley, was born.
Okay.
Why would Elvis confide something so personal to Nancy? Many people don't realize how long Nancy and Elvis had been friends. She first met Elvis in March 1960, when she welcomed him back to the States upon his release from the Army. Nancy went on behalf of her father, who was planning to have Elvis as a guest on his show for a special welcome home tribute. Fast forward 8 years later, when Nancy received this private phone call.
I did the reaction, and if that is the reaction, then that's when I was first introduced to Nancy, if you guys remember, when Frank Sinatra was there, and I was like, who is this lady? And you guys were like, it's his daughter. So I don't know if what I'm hearing is correct, or if there was maybe something later that the concert happened. Comment below and let me know, guys, because I'm hearing these information. I'm just taking it with a grain of salt, and you guys are verifying what's true and what's not for me. All right, let's continue. Let me just go back a little bit.
Fast forward 8 years later, when Nancy received this private phone call from Elvis, who had just become a father. It's a little-known fact that Nancy gave Priscilla a baby shower a few months earlier in October.
Oh, wow.
Elvis and Nancy had been working together filming the movie Speedway, starting in June 1967. Nancy and Elvis had such good chemistry together that rumors started to swirl that they were having a romance on the set, even though Elvis was married to Priscilla. Nancy denies this outright.
I could bring it up because it didn't happen. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Oh, really? Unfortunately.
Yeah. When we did the film, he was married.
Yeah, she said, unfortunately. Nancy, does that mean you were trying and Elvis said, no, I'm a married man and a respectful man? Come on.
Married and pregnant. And there are very strict rules about that sort of thing. With me, yes.
Priscilla said she was surprised Nancy offered to give her a baby shower because she didn't know her that well. Quote, "It turned out quite nicely. Nancy was very friendly and very supportive. I found that I liked her, and I decided to ignore the rumors." Unquote. Elvis's friend George Klein described Elvis and Nancy's relationship as more of a big brother, little sister dynamic than anything romantic. Maybe that's why Elvis felt so comfortable confiding in Nancy.
Let me pause for a second. Guys, like I said, I'm watching this Elvis News Examiner, and I don't know what's real, what's not. You guys are here to tell me. So if you were around during that time and you heard that rumor, comment below. Let me know how big that rumor was and if it was squashed right away. All right, let's go.
He called me the night his daughter was born, and he was very melancholy, and he said, I feel sorry for all the other babies who are being born tonight. The ones who are not privileged. That's what he meant. That's not the word he used. He was especially worried about the little black children, he said, because he thought that they wouldn't have the advantages that his baby would have growing up.
Yeah, he sounds like a nice guy.
Very nice guy.
Years earlier, Nancy had spoken.
The guy said he sounds like a nice guy. That's more than a nice guy, right? So to get to the point of you're going to have your baby and you think about the joy that you're going to have and the joy and the beauty and everything and the love that you're going to give that child, you know, and how that child is going to be well fed, you know, well dressed, get everything that they want. And not only that they need, but that they want in life. And for you to get to the point and saying, wow, I'm so privileged and my kid's going to get so privileged. And to actually think about those who are not privileged, that's more than a nice guy. You know what I mean? That's more than a nice guy. And that is very, very thoughtful. And that says a lot about a person's character, right? Because a lot of times we live in our world and we see what we see. What's around us, right? And we don't stop to think about the less fortunate, and we don't stop to think about how grateful that we are, and because we have these things, right? So again, for Elvis to have such a moment, for him to be like, wow, my kid is like, I feel bad, right? I feel bad because my kid's gonna have so much, and to know that other people don't have that much, that really, really says a lot about his character. Wow, very beautiful. All right, let's continue.
About the hour-long phone conversation in an interview for an Elvis biography. I am so lucky, and my little girl is so lucky, Elvis told her. But what about all the babies born who don't have anything, who don't have any food? Elvis said. But was Nancy ever interested in Elvis? Stay tuned to the end to see if Nancy thought Elvis was a good kisser and what surprising habits he had. Nancy admitted in later years that she and Elvis flirted with each other.
There was flirting, you know, but just friendly flirting. We were like the Cats and Jammer kids. You know, we used to ride a bicycle built for two around the studio, the MGM lot, and the tourists would go, wait a second, was that? You know, and we caused a lot of trouble around the set.
But what about 8 years earlier, when Nancy and Elvis first met? There were rumors that they were dating even then. Elvis was asked about this at a press conference at Graceland on March 7th, 1960.
About Nancy Sinatra and yourself, is there a romance in the making here?
No, I'm afraid not. I only met her in Fort Dix. She gave me a gift from Frank. I think she's engaged to Tommy Sands. I don't think he would appreciate that.
Ironically, Elvis knew and even worked with Tommy Sands.
People like to start things, but I'm also aware that I know that I don't know if they're still doing it now, but I definitely know that I've heard, like, back in the days that, you know, when people were coming out with new movies or new songs or whatever, like, their promoter will just kind of, you know, put a little rumor here, a little rumor there, so that people can become more interested in them, and just for the name to get bigger. And I also know that sometimes, you know, they would have people date each other or be seen with each other so they could be photographed and for all the talking. So I get all of those things are happening, but that's very, very dangerous when someone is in a relationship with somebody else, right? Like, that's not cool, but I know that it's done. I definitely know that it's done. And it's funny because I'm watching this and I'm just like, normally I feel like people who would just be like watching this and just feed off of the people who just love the gossip, right? So know if it's true, if it's not. But like I said, comment below if you were listening to them around that time, if you were an Elvis fan and Frank Sinatra and Nancy, and you heard those rumors and what that was like in that era at that time. I can't imagine how horrible it must have been for Priscilla, who's pregnant, and then hearing that. And Nancy's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful person. So how she must have felt, you know, going through all of those and people in her face and asking her this and asking her that. That just must have been an absolutely horrible, horrible experience. So I'm really glad that Nancy stepped up and was like, not only are these rumors not true, but I'm gonna do your baby shower, which is quite interesting. All right. Like I said, guys, comment below if you know anything about that. All right, let's continue. Let me go back a little bit.
He would appreciate that.
Ironically, Elvis knew and even worked with Tommy Sands 5 years before he met Nancy. He and Elvis used to perform on the same shows promoted by Colonel Parker in 1955.
Greatest, the most charismatic, the most magical
individual I've ever seen, both off screen, off stage, and on stage, on screen. He's the kind of person that could not walk into a room and not stop whatever was happening in that room.
Wow,
Every person,
how beautiful,
whether it was a man
Tommy.
or a woman, would turn and look at him.
Right.
He was that magical, you know. There was something about him, and you can't really define it with any kind of vocabulary. We don't have the words that accurately tell you what that is. It's magic.
Tommy
Wow, it's so crazy because you would think that they were probably competitors, and for Tommy to say that again, Elvis. These people, all these people I'm listening to, they cannot be lying. So if someone is watching this channel and they're probably like, you know, if you're new and they're like, oh, Joanne is only looking for interviews or whatever that people says positive things about Elvis, I urge you to send me interviews or anything that anyone says anything negative about Elvis, because honestly, I just randomly pick a title and all I've been hearing is absolutely amazing things. And you know, I always want to hear every side of the story, but every side that I've heard is just how absolutely amazing Elvis is. And when I see him again, like I see him, I don't know if I've already aired out the one that the interview that I watched with Elvis talking with Eddie Murphy talking about Elvis, and it's just like the whole thing is just like when you see Elvis on stage, it's just like his whole aura comes out, his whole energy. He's just, I like that word that he just said to describe him as magical. I don't know, guys, but like I said, if there's anyone that says something different, I would like to see it. I would like to see it because I've heard nothing but absolutely amazing things about him. All right, let's continue.
You know, there was something about him, and you can't really define it with any kind of vocabulary. We don't have the words that accurately tell you what that is. It's magic.
Tommy was 2 years younger than Elvis and really looked up to him. He even used to imitate him for fun.
Yeah, and he used to love to see me do that. We'd go out clubbing after a show, and so he would ask me to get up and do him. He liked to talk about girls.
Girl?
He used to talk about James Dean.
Jimmy
We
Dean.
both liked Jimmy Dean a lot, and he knew then that someday he was going to be an actor, and he wanted to be an actor like Jimmy Dean.
Colonel Parker managed Tommy Sands for 2 years, but his career did not take off. When Parker turned his focus onto Elvis, he did not forget about Sands. In January 1957, he helped get Sands the leading role in the TV special inspired by Elvis's life called The Singin' Idol, which made him a star overnight.
And I wanted to, you know, I was trying to get in movies, trying to get a break somehow.
Right.
And nothing was happening. One night I got a call from Colonel Parker, and he gave me a ticket and sent me back to New York to audition for this show. They auditioned a lot of people, hundreds of people, and they couldn't find anybody. And they went back to him, and he said, I got the guy for you. And so they took his word.
In 1958, The Singin' Idol was...
As I'm learning, I'm putting things together. I'm thinking about the Elvis movie. As I'm learning, I'm thinking about the Elvis movie, and I'm remembering that I didn't put things together. Tommy Sands, he was the one that was imitating Elvis. Okay, guys. Things come together. Things come together. All right, let's go. Okay.
Him, and you can't really define it with any kind of vocabulary. We don't have the words that accurately tell you what that is. It's magic.
Tommy was 2 years younger than Elvis and really looked up to him. He even used to imitate him for fun.
Yeah, and he used to love to see me do that. We'd go out clubbing after a show, and so he would ask me to get up and do him. He liked to talk about girls.
Girl?
He used to talk about James Dean.
Jimmy
We
Dean.
both liked Jimmy Dean a lot, and he knew then that someday he was going to be an actor, and he wanted to be an actor like Jimmy Dean.
Colonel Parker managed Tommy Sands for 2 years, but his career did not take off. When Parker turned his focus onto Elvis, he did not forget about Sands. In January 1957, he helped get Sands the leading role in the TV special inspired by Elvis's life called The Singin' Idol, which made him a star overnight.
And I wanted to, you know, I was trying to get in movies, trying to get a break somehow.
Right.
And nothing was happening. One night I got a call from Colonel Parker, and he gave me a ticket and sent me back to New York to audition for this show. They auditioned a lot of people, hundreds of people, and they couldn't find anybody. And they went back to him, and he said, I got the guy for you. And so they took his word.
In 1958, The Singin' Idol was then turned into a movie called Sing Boy Sing, with Sands playing the lead role. Sands played Virgil Walker, a country boy turned singing star from Louisiana who has a domineering manager named Joseph Sharkey. Ironically, Elvis went to see the movie on March 23, 1958, the night before he got inducted into the Army. Nancy Sinatra and Tommy Sands were divorced by the time she starred with Elvis in the 1968 movie Speedway.
Okay.
So did Nancy think Elvis was a good kisser?
But what was
He was a great kisser.
He was a good kisser?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sweet and fidgety. He would always be moving, either his foot. And he smoked these long, not cigars, I don't know what you call them. Cigarettes, but they're longer and they're brown.
Oh, cigarellos.
Yeah, yeah.
Cigarellos.
Ironically, Bonnie Clevering, who was the hairstylist on the set of Speedway, tells a story where she almost set fire to Presley's hair as she was trying to light his cigarillo for him.
Smoked these Tiparillo cigars, and so one day I said to him, let me light your cigar. And that's when Zippo lighters were so popular.
Yeah.
And I had the flame all the way up.
Oh.
And so I went to light, and he flew back. And afterwards I thought, oh my God, I could have burned off his pompadour.
Bonnie was one of the 15 women that was invited to Priscilla's baby shower, given by Nancy Sinatra.
Guys, you know, this again talks about Elvis's character, because you know the divas that we have nowadays, not only would this lady be fired, she would be removed from the whole industry. She would be blacklisted. And here she is talking about it, laughing about it, and Elvis invited her, or she was invited to the baby shower. Oh my God. Again, about the character of Elvis, because again, like I said, nowadays with the divas, and probably divas back then, she would have been blacklisted a long time ago. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. All right.
Elvis had asked me to do all his films, but I only did one because I had an infertility problem at the time.
Okay.
And Nancy Sinatra gave Priscilla Presley a baby shower at her house. So I go to the shower, and halfway through the shower, it's an old Italian wives' tale to rub your hands on the pregnant woman's stomach. It is supposed to bring you luck, and that's the month I got pregnant.
Wow, guys, wow. That is a beautiful story. Comment below if you guys believe in those. Like, comment below. My goodness, that's absolutely beautiful. Look at this. My nose is getting stuffed up as I'm talking about that. That's a great way to end that. Wow, how amazing. Okay, guys. So, I clicked on this because it talked about Nancy Sinatra, and then I heard about Tommy, which I did not know that Nancy and him were married. And then I get to hear this nice story about from the hairstylist. So that was like 3 different interviews in one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this with me. And again, I hope you guys are continuing to enjoy the weeks of Elvis. All right, definitely comment below and let me know what interviews you guys recommend. And like I said, I welcome anyone who's out there who has seen an interview that is not as talking about Elvis as wonderful as all the other interviews that I've seen, because like I'm all about hearing the truth, and I know that every single person has, you know, everybody has their bad days or whatever it is, but even during his bad days, Elvis just seems to have like a heart of gold. But like I said, I welcome anything, and thank you guys for being here with me. I'm going to see you guys in the next reaction.